In this video, we'll look at the molecular geometry for IF3. So we start out with our Lewis structure, and you'll note we have 3 fluorines. 1, 2, 3. Each one has an octet. And our central iodine, it has more than an octet, but that's okay. Iodine can have an expanded octet. So we have our Lewis structure. And what we want to imagine is each one of these things, these 3 fluorine atoms, and these 2 lone pairs here, all pushing away from each other. And that's what's going to create the molecular geometry as these spread out. It's helpful if we visualize this. So the purple, that's the central iodine, and then we're going to put 3 fluorine atoms around it. We put 1, 2, they spread out. We put our third, spread out again. We get this kind of trigonal planar molecular geometry. Then we need to add our lone pairs. We have 2 lone pairs. They occupy space, and they're going to push against the hydrogens. So let's put 1, 2. Once we do that, we can see that we end up with this T-shaped molecular geometry for IF3. So there's our T-shaped molecular geometry. Let's go back to our Lewis structure. So we have these 5 things attached. That means our steric number is 5. We have the 3 atoms and the 2 lone pairs. Let's look that up on this table here. So steric number is 5, and then we had 2 lone pairs. So we go across here and then T-shaped. So we have a T-shaped molecular geometry, an approximate T-shaped molecular geometry. And when we look at it, the bond angle, this one right here, that should be 90 degrees or about 90. Then straight across, that'll be 180. We could also use what's called the AXE notation to figure out the molecular geometry for IF3. So A, that would be the central atom, the iodine. X, that's the number of atoms. We have 3 fluorine atoms. And E, that's the number of lone pairs. We said we have 2 lone pairs. So if you have this notation here and you look that up on a table or you've memorized these, you'll see again that IF3 is an approximate T-shaped molecular geometry. If you wanted to know the electron geometry, remember we have that steric number of 5. We have 5 things attached. That gives you trigonal bipyramidal. This is Dr. B with the molecular and electron geometry for IF3, iodine trifluoride. Thanks for watching.